Hey everyone, it's Andrea Praber here with Great Expectations Realty. So today we're going to talk about how to sell your home and doing it by yourself actually. So last week we were supposed to do the introductory video and kind of introduce myself to everyone live. But we have some issue with the channel, and now this week, same thing. So we're just going to go ahead and record this and then put this up there for you guys. So still working on it. YouTube is having issues with me or whatever. I'm having issues with it. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so did want to go ahead and welcome you to how to sell your home yourself. A couple real quick things that we want to go over before we get into that is just kind of our welcome and kind of let you know what's going on around Marion County. So I will say we're going to be doing this every week, Monday at noon. So please subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe so that you get all of this information. One of the things that we're going to do is include the link to the master plan here in Ocala. And also the links to the road work projects, because everybody's talking about all the road work projects we've got going on, and there's going to be some major changes to the flow of traffic here in Marion County. So I definitely want to get that information up there as well. One of the things that is major right now is over at Southwest 49th Avenue. We have Southwest 49th Avenue is basically going to go all the way from Marion Oaks all the way to 200, almost the flyover at least. And this project is going to take a couple of years, but it's also expanding 49th Avenue, which is going to affect a lot of homeowners as well. It's going to be a much busier, bigger road. This plan has been in the works for quite a while, but it's actually started construction at this point. So that's kind of something that I wanted to share. Also, of course, a lot of you already know, Northeast 35th Street is getting 2 more lanes, and that's kind of big news. It's at least big news for Westport students and on top of the world residents because 2 lanes are being added to 80th Avenue as well. So Northeast 35th Street, you guys are already familiar. They've already got a lot of it done over by Anthony Road and all of that. So I've seen it. You got to take detours. It's just kind of a hot mess. It's already kind of well in the works. But I wanted to let you guys know about that. What else are we talking about? We are talking about, today is the last day for Marion County, Marion County Animal Shelter. They are doing free animals. So it was kind of a 4th of July thing, but it was just really cool because actually it would be tomorrow would be the last day. So free dogs, free cats, it's awesome. There is a very, very special dog that we're going to do a video on. He has been over there for actually about 400 days, so over a year. He's only 3 years old, so a large portion of his life has been spent in a small kennel at the Marion County Animal Shelter. He is a super sweet dog. He really, really is. So we're going to do a separate video on that. He's going to get his own video, so look for that. But his name is Troy. So he's a total sweetheart. So we got some really good footage over there. We kind of visited, got some videos of some cats and stuff like that. So there are also going to be some links that are going to be for Ocala Style Magazine. They have an upcoming event calendar, which is phenomenal. It's just a local magazine, but it's really, a lot of people really, really, really enjoy it and really read it, and us as well. Every month we're always excited to see who's on the cover because it's kind of cool to see people that you know around town on the cover of a local magazine. But so anyway, I will make these links available to you guys so you guys know what's coming up as far as building projects and road projects and what's happening at the animal shelter and other events going on throughout town. As far as the building, if they put one more gas station or dollar store in Marion County, I may lose my mind. I'm like going to have to start picketing or something. I'm not really sure. It is insane. I saw another Dollar General going up today on 301. I was like, really? We need another dollar store. Okay, I'm just not even going to go into that. Okay, so let's see, as of today, on a 30-year fixed mortgage, we've got the rate at 3.81%, which is pretty cool. 15-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.61%, and FHA 30-year fixed is 3.60%. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm not getting into the ARMs because I don't really think those are a good plan. I mean, hello, did we not see some issues there? Yeah, so we're going to go into that. Okay, so what you actually listen for is for the first, or for actually for sale by owner. So let's get into for sale by owner. So for sale by owner, we actually give a lot of information, including like a brochure and stuff like that, to anybody that is wanting to sell their home themselves, which is great. They kind of think, why are we doing that? Because we know how hard it is. It's not like you just put up a sign and sell your house. Maybe at one point in some place, or if they've got a super hot market or something like that, okay, maybe I could possibly see that. But here it's hard. It takes a lot of hard work. So it's like, if you want to sell the house yourself, it's cool. More power to you. Go right ahead. Here are some tips and tricks that we use to, sell a home. And if you still want to sell the house yourself, great, go for it. No big deal. We'll maybe bring you a buyer. I mean, who knows? So anyway, so this booklet is fantastic. How to work with the lenders of the buyer, quick reference information, reasons to sell the house yourself as opposed to use a real estate professional, helpful hints for selling your home, recipe for sale, planning to sell, checklist for sale by owner advertising, understanding the escrow process, working with lenders, the appraisal, the escrow professional, the closing and signing appointment, what to bring. For crying out loud, bring your driver's license. They have to tell you are who you say you are, so you have to bring ID. Understanding title insurance, Eagle owner's policy, terms you should know, and congratulations on your sale. So very helpful booklet right here that I would be more than happy to give to anybody. Just go ahead and send me an email or give me a phone call and I will get that information to you. So, how to sell your home yourself. I would say step one is get it ready to sell. Go outside yourself and take, yourself, this isn't anything that's going to go online or whatever. Go ahead and take a picture of your house. Sometimes you don't see you see it as your home. You don't really see it as a buyer and what they're going to see. So go ahead and just take a quick picture, snapshot, whatever, of your house and compare it to other houses that are available in the neighborhood. So they're up for sale. They're up for sale. They've got for sale signs out there. Go ahead and compare how your house looks on the outside to their houses, because of course you're only selling the one house. Buyers aren't going to look at just one house. They're going to look at every house in their price range and area. And they want to make sure that they're making the right decision, of course. So they're going to be looking at several houses. So they're going to be looking at your neighbor's houses, most likely. So go ahead and take a snapshot. Check out your competition, okay? It's important. Check and see who that is and what they have and how your house compares to theirs. Sorry, I have to keep drinking water. Okay. Go ahead and I would say add a pop of color. Some people go a little overboard and paint their houses purple. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Go with natural as much as possible, neutral colors. But add a pop of color. Maybe a nice brick red color on the door, some red mulch or black mulch or something that's going to contrast a little bit to the green grass and other features that you have going on. So you want to get that pop of color. I personally prefer to have red mulch go in and some nice flowers, bright yellows and oranges, and then put a nice brick red color to the door so it all kind of flows and opens and just really points your focus at the front door. Lots of flowers. When I say lots of flowers, don't go overboard because you don't want to have so many that they're like, oh, I don't want to have to maintain all of this. but just lots of pops of color. So you have that. You know, get one of those shepherd's hooks that they have and have like a hanging basket of flowers. Those are pretty inexpensive at Lowe's. Just to add that extra, you know, welcome home, welcome to your home kind of thing. That's another thing. When you go to sell your house, it's not your home anymore. It is an item for sale. It is so difficult for most homeowners to understand that it's not what they think or what they want, or it's not about you, okay? You are selling an item, okay? You actually want those buyers to think of themselves in your home, which is totally difficult, totally strange, because they're complete strangers. To have complete strangers come into your home in you know, your stuff and picture their items and different colors of paint because they don't like yours or whatever, don't take it personally, okay? Just take a step back. Don't take anything personally. You're not going to want to live in their house either without your little things and differences and whatever. It's personal choice and personal decision for their home. You want them to picture themselves in your home with their furniture and the things they like, okay? You don't have to live with them. You just have to let your ownership, that feeling of ownership, go long enough to sell your house to somebody else. It is much harder than you would think for most people. Okay. When you go into the house, that's another thing that you want to do is go ahead and take that cell phone camera or, you know, whatever kind of digital camera, and go ahead and take a picture of each room of the house. Ask yourself, is it bright? Is it cheerful? Nobody wants to walk into a dungeon. Most people don't want to walk into a dungeon. I don't know, there's some weirdos out there. Make sure that it's all very clean. Okay, if you've got like cobwebs in the corner, you're gonna need somebody to come and take care of that, or you're gonna need to get a step ladder and get that taken care of. The ceiling fans need to be clean. Everything needs to be clean. If you have a beautiful, huge, gorgeous house and it is filthy dirty, it's going to be very difficult to sell even if you reduce the price, because people are just like, ugh, they're not even maintaining the cleanliness. What else are they not maintaining? So you want to make sure it's clean. You want to make sure it's welcoming. I know a lot of realtors back in the day would like bake brownies or cookies or whatever in the oven on an open house day. That's all well and good. I think at this point people just prefer the smell of clean. It's the most welcoming and most inviting. I personally prefer pine salt, you know, that lemon pine salt. Love it. My husband's like, okay, you're killing me with the lemon pine salt, but I love that smell. I think it just smells clean and sanitary and just fresh. But to each their own. Just make sure that it's clean. I cannot overemphasize that. Make sure that it's well organized. If you are not able to have a well organized and clean home on your own, call in some help. You can really quickly Google a home organizer, stager, or you know, any kind of house cleaning services. Check on Angie's List, whatever you need to do. If it's here in Marion County, give me a call. I will give you some phone numbers of people. But outside of this area, you're kind of a little more going to be Googling it. But or ask another realtor or property manager or something like that. We all know somebody. But definitely go ahead and get some help if needed. Okay, so because there's a difference between, you know, hey, I'm going to pick up the house, to a professional coming in and scrubbing it from top to bottom. And I mean like top to bottom. They will get every corner, nook, cranny, baseboards, everything. I mean, when's the last time you scrubbed your baseboards? So, but it's important. It really is. Nobody wants to come into the house and be like, ooh, there's some dirt and fuzz on the baseboard. Oh, there's a hair. There's somebody else's hair. You know, it's just, you don't want that. So go ahead and get it cleaned up. All right, step 3. Write down the reasons that you love your home. No, I'm not trying to talking to keeping your home or anything like that. I am trying to get you to change your perspective, to go from this is my home to what do I love about it, so that I can then sell it to somebody else. So again, you got to kind of change your perspective just a little bit. So write down all of the things that you love about your house, the neighborhood. Think about your favorite local restaurant or coffee shop or whatever it is. And just write those down on a piece of paper and leave it as a note, basically, just for somebody else that wants to, take a look at your house. Here's the things that I loved about my house. Use those things in your advertising. Then you'll be able to kind of share those things that they won't know necessarily about. Gather up all the info on your house. We're talking like repair invoices, warranty, permits, anything you can. Go ahead and put it in a binder. Leave that by the front door so when people are looking at your house, they can see that, one, you're really well organized, and two, that you've been maintaining the house and improving the house over the years. So you definitely want to have that information. I actually like that information on any of the houses that I list as well. So just to kind of get that in there. Okay. Step number 4, hire a real estate, no, I did not say real estate professional, a real estate professional photographer. Okay. A real estate professional photographer is not going to be the same as somebody, not normally, the same as somebody that takes pictures of portraits for people. They're going to be trying to maximize space. People don't necessarily want you. Please don't maximize my space. I take up enough space. I don't need it maximized. But on a house, you have to do that. And you have to know how to do editing without getting in trouble either. So you don't want to like edit and have, it not be realistic anymore, and it's more of a cartoon than a house because you've edited it so much. It's not even the same house, okay? You can't like take down walls and stuff that are actually there or add walls or whatever. That's not the kind of editing I'm talking about. The kind of editing I'm talking about is when you have, you're using a type of lens or lighting or whatever. That's the kind of editing that you're going to need to do, because if you use a specific lens that actually increases the size of the room or shows the full size of the room, normally you have these weird edges on the outside of the photograph, so you gotta have to kind of edit those off so it still shows the room as looking as big and beautiful as it is if you were standing in it, but it doesn't have like these creepy weird kind of fish lens kind of editing. So make sure that you're using somebody that is actually a real estate photographer. Normally, those real estate photographers also have a drone license for photographs. Now, a lot of people are like, well, why can't I just go ahead and get a drone and take some pictures? You will have a lot of trouble with the FAA if you try and do that. You can go ahead and get a license for it. I don't think they're quite as backlogged now as they were before. It's kind of like a certificate type thing where you have to understand exactly what the laws are so you're not breaking laws as you're flying a drone. But that's really expensive. I mean, it is. If you're going to get a decent drone and then the camera for the drone and then try and figure out how to use that, plus get the certificate from the FAA, all of that stuff, just hire the photographer. Okay, it's going to be way, way less expensive because it's just a one-time hit. Now, if you want all of that stuff and you're like, oh, I've always loved drones and I'm so excited to do this, now I have an excuse. Okay, be my guest. But normally, just hire a real estate photographer and they will be able to use the drone footage to get you the aerials and stuff like that. Now, real estate agents have been using aerials for years, but it's normally been a lot more expensive because you had to actually pay to have a plane go overhead and take those photographs. Now, thanks to drones and Google Maps and all of the other stuff with the satellites and everything that you can do, you can really see aerials much better and without actually using an airplane. So it's kind of cool. That being said, again, the aerials, you want to have different views and angles, and so having that real estate photographer is phenomenal for that. So definitely get that. Not as big a fan of the real estate photographers that do, you kind of do your own pictures and then they edit it and they can do staging digitally and stuff like that. I'm not quite up there yet, but having a professional photographer go in and actually take pictures is well worth the money. Now, why would I say that? I mean, why can't you just go in and take some pictures of your own house? Well, normally they're terrible. I'm sorry. I know you love your Nikon or your Keaton or whatever it is that you have. I'm sure it was very expensive. I'm sure you're very good at taking pictures of sunsets. This isn't that. There's very specific, not just equipment, but also talent involved with taking pictures of houses. I'm not joking. I've seen some amazing photography come from some of these photographers. And I mean, they look like they should be in a magazine, and that's what you want. You want your house to look like it could be in a magazine. And the reason for that is because most of the buyers out there, and I'm not exaggerating when I say most, but most of the buyers out there are looking online for their house. They are going on to Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com and I don't know, all of these different websites, and they're looking at the pictures. And if your pictures of your house don't measure up, they're going to swipe left. I mean, they're just going to move on to the next house. So you want to make sure that you have the photographs that really show the size and the beauty of your home accurately. Okay, so definitely make sure your house is beautiful, staged, clean, ready to go, because trust me, the photographs show everything. Don't put anything on the counters, just very clean. Everything very, very clean, very neat, very tidy. If you're wondering how it should look in a couple of magazines. You know, there's some Florida architecture magazines that are pretty good, home and garden magazines. But look at how they do the rooms. There's not 5 different things on each tabletop. There's not like newspapers sitting there in a pile. They don't have any of that. Okay, so match what you have with how they've set up those other houses and put it in the magazine, and that's what you're going for, okay? You can also look on Zillow and Trulia yourself, because then you will again see the competition and see what kind of pictures they've got and how they've got their houses set up. The ones where you look at and you're like, wow, that's really beautiful. That's what you want for your house, okay? So, when you're setting up for the photography, again, everything off the counters, everything off the tables. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Like, you can leave a lamp, that's it. Make sure to turn on all the lights. Make sure all the blinds are up. You want to have as much light coming into the house as possible. Turn off the fans, because that will mess with the pictures as well. Hide any wires and plugs. You don't want to have a whole bunch of wires and plugs in the pictures. It's just going to totally draw the eyes to it, because it's normally in contrast with the color of the wall. The plugs will be black and brown, and you don't want that. And then also remove all area rugs. I normally kind of check each time, but highly recommend remove like the little kitchen rugs and stuff like that. Get those up off the ground, because it's going to look so much bigger and brighter and more beautiful without those. They tend to make the space a little bit smaller looking, so you don't want that. You want it to really, really stand out and look huge and bright and clean and inviting. That's the main thing. Okay, moving on from that. Decide if you are willing to pay other realtors to bring a buyer. That's totally up to you. Okay, normally when you pay a listing agent, and it's not true of everyone, but normally when you pay a listing agent, they split their commission with the buyer's agent. So you are acting as a listing agent. That does not mean that you're going to save 5, 6, 7, 8%, whatever the percentage is. You're going to save their portion of it, and you're acting as the listing realtor at this point. So keep that in mind. So if you decide that you want to go ahead and take that other portion and give it to a realtor that has a buyer they've been working with for 6 months and shown 200 houses, and they really want them, to look at yours, and they think that's the one, and it may very well be, are you willing to give that agent a commission to bring that buyer to your house? So that's something you need to decide ahead of time. because the realtor is going to ask you, look, I have a buyer. I've been working with them for a while. They've been waiting for your house just like yours to go on the market. Really want to show it to them. Are you willing to pay me a commission? Because I worked really hard with these people and I'm going to see this all the way through. If you say yes, great. If you decide no, you want to do it completely on your own, you then become not only the listing agent, but you also become the buyer's agent. So it's a little bit more work on your part because you're going to be doing everything as opposed to having two agents cooperating together. You're then going to be working all of it. It's a lot. So just consider that before you go to put that on there, build it into your price if you need to, or whatever you need to do. But consider that first, just to make sure. Let's see. Set rules for safety. I cannot tell you enough to please, please, please be safe out there. Being a realtor is a dangerous profession. You wouldn't think it would be, but you're basically showing people off the internet that you don't know vacant houses. We try to be as safe as possible. We have certain precautions set up ahead of time, but you have not taken those classes that we take. You're just showing your house to somebody, to a prospective buyer. Please be careful. I have known of some very, very scary things happen, especially with Craigslist. So please set up as many precautions as you can. Hopefully you have like a security system or something like that where you can just hit a button and the police will show up. That would be stellar. Keep your cell phone on you and keep it ready to call 911 or something like that if you are in a bad situation. One thing I would suggest is to make sure everything, and this is true of whether it's a realtor working with you or if you're doing it yourself, make sure all of your valuables are hidden or put away, and I mean like really well hidden. And your prescription stealing is a major thing, which I wouldn't have thought, but it really is. So make sure that your prescriptions are put away. Make sure that your valuables are put away. I have actually gone into a house and I was working with a buyer, this was several years ago, but I walked into the house and it was obviously an older man and, that lived alone. And apparently he had been paying his bills and he was budgeting and he used the envelope system. Well, he had taken his dog for a walk so that we could go and, show his house. But I walked in and there is just piles of cash all over his dining room table with various envelopes and stuff. And I'm just like, so please don't do that to yourself or anybody else. I wasn't able to follow the buyers and really show the house because I was so worried about even $1 being missing off that table. So I stationed myself right at the table and watched it like a hawk until they were like, okay, let's go. I don't even know, because there was multiple buyers. I mean, it was like one buyer, but like, husband, wife, and a teenager. And it was like, So, yeah, don't do that, okay? Like, please, leave your cash put away. Don't leave it on the dining room table and then invite the general public in to look around. Please be careful. Not just with your stuff, because your stuff can be replaced, but also with your own personal safety as well. Because there are some very strange people out in this world, and you're inviting them into your house to take a look around. So, I would do a little bit of pre-screening questions, like I would ask if they are paying cash for the house or if they have a pre-qualification letter. If they're paying cash, ask them to send you proof of funds, which, they can go ahead and black out their account number if they want or something like that, but at least they can prove to you that they have the funds readily available to purchase your home. Another thing that you can do is ask for the pre-qualification letter or pre-approval letter. What this does is two things. One, it makes sure that they are ready, willing, and able to purchase your home. And second, it also kind of gives you a bit of a safety thing because these people, their information is on the pre-qualification letter from the financial institute. So obviously, it's not somebody that's just kind of wandering in from the street and wants to look at your stuff. So try and get that pre-approval or pre-qualification letter or proof of funds prior to just letting anybody walk in. It's just, that is a very, very scary concept. And unfortunately for sale by owner, you're so amped up and ready to sell your home and so unsure of the whole system, you're a little more likely to let the wrong person through the door, and then you can be in quite the pickle. So just a heads up on that. Please be careful. If anything else, maybe take a class. I know the local realtors association does classes on self-defense, especially with regards to selling real estate. And often you can actually take the class and pay extra even though you're not a realtor. So you'll have to talk to them and see if that's something they'd be willing to do, but it is definitely a good idea. Okay. So yeah, definitely want to set the rules for safety, and also figure out what time you're going to be doing the showings. Make specific set times for yourself. There is no point to showing a house at, night, 9 o'clock at night. Nobody needs to be coming in your house. In the dark, you can't really see a house properly. So maybe set some rules for yourself. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. that's okay, but past that, it's no, you're going to need to come back tomorrow. And then also setting up some safety parameters, especially like, what about, if your wife is there by herself, or if you are single and you're showing the home to somebody. I mean, just make sure that you have somebody on the other line or a neighbor or something that can check up on you or something. So set those parameters ahead of time. Talk to the police and see if maybe they can give you some helpful hints. Advertise into oblivion. Okay, make some flyers up. You should be able to do that from your computer. They may not look like, something that a realtor would come in with, but they, even just using something from Microsoft Word or something and just type it all up. Put some pictures on there and print them up in color and get those flyers ready to give to people. You can also get an info box over at Lowe's along with your sign so that you can put some flyers outside so people can know a lot about the house prior to actually asking you for a showing. So that's a great idea too. You are also going to want to make sure that you have the house on Facebook Marketplace. You're going to want to have it on Zillow, Trulia, Hot Pads, anything and everything out there to get it up and available. There are some MLS companies. They basically like flatfee.com and stuff like that. They'll actually put it on the MLS. But again, only if you're willing to pay a commission. If there's no commission offered at all, then you can't use it because it's not for that. It's not a advertisement. It's basically for realtors to kind of share information so we can help each other out. So just a heads up on that one. Make sure and put some kind of compensation in there, and you could do that. It won't get you the same kind of media as if you were, actually, there's a lot of stuff that I would use that you might not even think to use it, but they're all paid. I mean, they're fairly expensive for me to advertise on those. So I'm just kind of going with the free ones or the fairly close to free ones. Because by the time you're paying for professional photography, you're paying for the signs, you're paying for the flyers we printed in color, the info box, the advertisements online, the Facebook ads. It's a lot. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of money that you're going to be ponying up. So just a heads up on that. Try to stick with free as much as possible, just because that is going to save you a lot of money in the long term. Okay. What about open houses? So personally, I love open houses. I would do open houses all day long, every day if I could. I absolutely love them. They're great. So many sellers have a misconception about open houses though. They think that, somebody's going to walk in and buy the house right then. It's going to be a bidding war in the living room. and it's just, you know, whatever. That's not necessarily what's going to happen. What is going to happen is you're going to be able to advertise the open house, and you're going to have people coming in to look at it because of those advertisements. So it's the open house itself is not necessarily where you're going to get the buyer. You might have somebody that can't make it to the open house but sees the advertisement for the open house, and they actually set up an appointment later to come and see it and end up buying it. So it's that advertisement. You want to have as many eyeballs on this as humanly possible. So an open house is a really good excuse for more advertising and getting more views on the house. So open houses I would definitely recommend to put into the newspaper or any kind of classifieds online. Be very, very, very careful with Craigslist. Craigslist is kind of known for its scams. So you don't want your house to be, one, a victim of a scam, but you also don't want to be lumped into that category. So while Craigslist is very inexpensive to advertise in, it's not one that I recommend. I've just seen too much over the years that there's just no way, I wouldn't do it. So, all right, so let's look at, those are some of the notes that I wrote. I did want to let you know that if you have any questions as to how to sell your house yourself, I've got gobs of info to share. For some for sale by owners, or FSBO as we call it, for some of them I actually offer to do a free open house for them. Why do I do that? Well, some of my realtor friends think I'm crazy, but the reason I do that is because a lot of times people will show up that don't necessarily qualify for your house, but they do want something similar, or they are maybe they're not quite ready to buy. They've got another couple of years or a couple of months or whatever. Those are great for me. Eventually I will sell them a home. Nobody comes to an open house that isn't interested in the open house. It's either a neighbor that wants to sell their house or whatever. So I will actually put on, advertise everything, the open house for free for the owner, just so that I can then work with anybody that comes in that doesn't necessarily have a realtor, but definitely has the dream of home ownership. So love working with those. So that works for me. But again, it really just depends on the house, because if it's like way out in the boondocks, an open house probably isn't really going to work. It might work maybe possibly to a few neighbors, but that's not really a major thing. So that you're going to get more advertising online. It's definitely a good thing to do, but it might not necessarily work for me because there's only going to be like 2 people show up, and the advertising is only going to be for your house. So not so much. Anyway, so let's go ahead, and I will say, just if you have any questions about for sale by owner, please give me a call. I am not afraid to share. Obviously, since I'm doing this video, I have no problem sharing information as to how to do an open house or how to sell your home yourself. All right, so I also have these awesome pamphlets. This one is selling and marketing your house yourself. It reminds you to evaluate your listing. The market value of your home is not, and I love this, what you have in it. That every single time I do a listing appointment, the seller always tells me how much they paid for it and how much money they put into it, as if that's going to and somehow change the market value of the house. The market value of your house is what people will pay for the house. That's it. That's all it is. So it's whatever people are willing to pay for the house. So just because you put in really amazing blinds in the house, or you change the closet shelves from wire to wood, or whatever else you've done, that does not change the value of the house for the market. Because even though you've done those things, and even though you've maintained your home beautifully over the years, people are only going to pay what they can pay. They have to have an appraisal most of the time. And the appraiser is not going to come in and check out the wood shelves versus the wire shelves. They're going to check out the square footage, how many bedrooms it is, the area it's in, those kind of things. So just a heads up on that. It is not what you have in it. What you need to get out of it also has nothing to do with the marketability of the house or what the market will pay for your house. What it is appraised for. Well, that's good that it appraised for that. It gives you an idea. But if it's a different appraiser that comes in for the buyer, then it might be it's probably going to be a very different evaluation. So, and I again recently had somebody that actually told me what it appraised for before the housing market bubble burst, and as if that's somehow going to relate to now. It's a completely different market out there than what it was in 2005, 2006. It's not just 10 years, 15 years later, it is worlds different. Okay, the real estate market has changed so drastically in the last decade even, that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's just kind of I'm so sorry, you could have sold it for $500,000 and it's worth 200 now, but at least it's worth 200 now. 6-7 years ago it was worth maybe 50,000, so it doesn't matter what it appraised for in 2005, 2006. It doesn't matter what you paid for it. I know that's harsh, but thankfully I'm talking to a camera right now as opposed to talking to you, but unfortunately I'd probably give the same information. Maybe sugar-coated a little bit, but same information. The market value of your home is not what you heard your neighbor's house sold for. No. What the tax office says it's worth. Okay, the tax office, they normally can't even get the square footage right. I have seen so many things on there that is like absolutely crazy ridiculous. How many bedrooms? The acreage. It's just, I don't know how hard it is to count bedrooms. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. But sometimes even realtors, it says it's a 4-bedroom. I go over and I'm like, no. Or sometimes they lose bedrooms. I'm like, this is a 6-bedroom house. It's very clearly a 6-bedroom house, and they've got like 4-bedroom on there. I'm like, did you skip a few? Like, what happened there? So, use your fingers, people. Toes, even if you need to, but count what you got. So tax office, no, that is not accurate. That's for taxing purposes, not for sales purposes. Based on memories and treasures in the home. I do ask that you write down what your favorite things are, because it will help with marketing. You have to write up a lot of marketing. But if you say, oh, my daughter was born here, that's actually a turn off for buyers, because they're going to start thinking they don't want to take this treasure away from you. You don't want to have so much emotion tied to these bricks that the next young family or young couple coming in is like, oh my goodness, I'm making this elderly couple homeless. You don't want to do that to them. They will not buy your house, and they'll think it's a favor to you. If you're selling your house, sell your house. Don't go into all of the memories and treasures, because the wonderful thing about memories is you get to take them with you. Based on the price of homes where you are moving, I can absolutely promise you that the houses in California, even if it's the exact same house that we picked up from Ocala and moved it to California, it would be a vastly different home price. Huge difference. Okay. If you try even here in Florida, take that house, pop it over near the beach, way different price. Okay, way different price. Because we're in the center of the state, which I like because, less hurricane damage and, fear for my life. But other people are like, I want to live on the beach, or I want to live near the beach. I like where I am because I can travel to the beach for the day, spend the day, come home, sleep in my own bed at night. It's nice. I like it. Other people want to be much closer. They want to be able to walk to the beach, and they will pay through the nose for that benefit. We're not that. Your house is not that. Wherever you are, you know that you would get a different price in a different market. This is the market price for here for now. So it's live in the now and where you are. As a seller, you control three things. You control the price that you ask for the house. It's not necessarily what you're going to get, but is what you control. So you control what you ask for the price. The condition of the property, nobody can change that but you, and access to the property. Those are the three things that are really going to sell a home. If you have people wanting to see it on a Saturday and you're like, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I don't feel like it, it's my day off, nah, you're not going to sell the house. I'm sorry. That's when people look. Saturdays and Sundays, they look after hours when they get out of work. That's when they look. So that's unfortunately going to be very difficult for you because you're going to have to make your house accessible when you like to be in the house. But again, you are selling the home. Okay, the market value of your home is based on what a buyer is willing to pay for the property today. Today's market, today's competition, today's financing, today's economic conditions, the buyer's perception of the property condition. That's not actually what the property is and what its condition is. It's the buyer's perception of the property condition, the location, and normal market time. So if houses are moving slow in your area, which they're not here, but in certain areas they are, it's going to take a while to sell your home. Your house isn't special. It is exactly the area that you're in. So if it takes, on average 90 days to sell a house, you can expect to sell your house in about 90 days if it's priced right and you're allowing accessibility to the property. Okay, as a seller, you do not control these three things. The market condition. Wouldn't that be nice? If there was a way to do that, I'd have done it long ago. The motivation of competition. So let's say you are selling your house and then there's a house down the street that's also for sale that's almost identical to yours, but they have to move because of health reasons or somebody died or is dying or something like that. You can't control that. You can't control their motivation. They could drop the price $10,000. That's going to affect your appraisal. There's nothing you can do with that. That is their decision that they have to make. Or what if it went into foreclosure? If you have a foreclosure on the street, that is going to affect your house and the appraisal of your home. It might not be fair, but it is true. It is a thing that happens. And also the buyer's perception of value. I will have to say that even though we try very, 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 very hard to educate our buyers, sometimes their perception as to what their hard-earned income will buy is drastically different than what their hard-earned income will actually buy. So especially I have noticed with millennials, and I'm like just right on the edge of being an ancient millennial, but I have noticed with them that their starter homes are like off the charts. They want like granite countertops. They want like $300,000 homes as a starter home. They're like, well, this will work for a while, or they think that they're going to be there forever. Life happens. You will not be there forever. On average, people sell their home every 3 or 4 years. Okay, you're not going to be there forever. You're going to be there for now, and you're not going to be paying rent, which is awesome. But that perception of value can be a little bit skewed. So again, please don't take it personally. It is not about you. Sometimes it's just they are crazy. Now, if you have several buyers and they're all saying the same thing, you might want to start listening. But I will have to say that some buyers are asking for the moon and wanting to pay for, a Snickers bar. It's like, wow, okay. things to consider when selling your home. You have one property to show today. Homes are bought by comparison. So lots and lots of houses. Take a look at those houses. Go shopping as if you are actually going to be buying one of the houses. Take a look at them online, or even ask if you could go ahead and take a look at them, and just see what the competition is. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually, the more information you have, the better. Do you know the tastes and requirements of the buyer? Figure out who your buyer is. Okay, if you are in a 55 plus community, for example, your buyer is probably going to be somebody from up north. So you'd want to advertise how there's plenty of golfing, there's plenty of sunshine, and the taxes aren't ridiculous, because I'm sorry, but New York, what they pay for a year in taxes could buy you a house down here. I mean, it is crazy, crazy taxes up there. So advertise that. You're going to have a much lower cost for living down here. I mean, it's crazy. So figure out who your buyer is. Now, is that going to help you with if your house is maybe a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in a great school district? No, it's a completely different buyer. You're going to have somebody that wants something that Joanna Gaines styled. I mean, watch, you know, the Joanna Gaines and all of those. Just look at some reruns. You can even YouTube it. It's fine. But take a look at what they're doing, because that is the style right now. That's what they're going to be looking at. It's a very modern, gray walls, white trim, kind of farmhouse, but kind of modern at the same time. So that's, I mean, that is the style right now. So look for that. Open floor plans and just that open, bright cheerfulness, very clean, clean look. So look for that. Do you know how to write a valid contract? Where are you going to get your contract? You do need to have a contract. Florida, you can actually write on a napkin the sale of the house. I do not recommend it. So make sure that you have a Florida contract. If you're doing it for sale by owner, I would highly, highly recommend you go and get yourself an attorney and have him go ahead and write up the contract, because there's going to be a lot of stuff in there that, I mean, you don't even know what questions to ask. I mean, strange things happen when people are buying a home, so you want to have that stuff spelled out so you know exactly what's going to happen, because what you think should happen might not necessarily be what is going to happen, and you want to be protected as much as possible. So this is probably one of your largest assets. It is good to protect it, and that means going to an attorney and getting a contract. Now, we as realtors have attorneys that have already written up like blank contracts, and we just kind of fill in the blanks of your address and whatever. But these are like 14-page contracts. I mean, they're no joke, okay? But no, you cannot have one of those. You have to actually be a realtor in order to use one of those, because we have attorneys that we get to use as realtors. Yeah, you're going to want to go ahead and get an attorney for this, to write this up. I know some people are like, oh, I can just go to Staples and get one of those contracts. No, those contracts are written up normally for, you know, there's sometimes are written up by attorneys from out of state. So they have laws and clauses in there that aren't even legal in the state of Florida. So just go get an attorney. There are plenty in town. Google an attorney, just real estate attorney, and go ahead and get that, because it's worth it. It really is worth it in the long run. Do you have time to leave your job to help the buyer arrange his financing? I know that sounds kind of silly, but if you are working the whole deal, you're going to need to help the buyer figure out how to get financing, because a lot of times these buyers have no clue what they're doing. So having somebody around town that does, you know, loans or so forth, if you know somebody like that, that would be great. So that, you know, I mean, we use several different lenders here in town, because, you know, they specialize in different things. So depending on what your needs are, or what your buyer's needs are, then we know who to call. But definitely recommend making a few phone calls to some lenders and see if they'll help you out. They should be able to do that without a problem, because you will be calling them a lot, and so will your buyer, just to make sure that your house is sellable condition and that the buyer is doing what they're supposed to be doing. yeah, you might want to check into the current home loan market all entirely. So let's see, what else? You really need to find out, I know it's kind of crazy, but you're going to need to find out what the buyers don't like about your house just as much as what they do. And sometimes they have a hard time talking freely to the seller because they don't want to hurt your feelings. Some of them talk a little too freely about it, but you want to make sure that you know what they're thinking about your house, and what, they need to be very open and honest with you, and try not to take it personally. Okay, it's hard, I know, but again, you're doing this as a professional, so you want to make sure and not take any of those comments personally, because you'll get a good idea of, maybe it's not going to work for that person, but you'll find another buyer that will have the same thoughts, and so you can adjust your house or whatever accordingly. So okay, you're going to hear some conflicting suggestions from well-meaning friends. There's going to be friends and family that have watched way too much HGTV, and they're going to tell you strange, crazy stuff like, oh, well, you need an accent wall in orange or black. I actually saw an accent wall in black lately. I was like, please use some common sense when taking their advice. Please, please, please. If you don't even like their house or how it's staged and organized and stuff, don't take their advice on yours. Again, this is your number one asset normally, your most expensive asset, and you're going to take advice from somebody who is renting. It's like, no, what are you doing? So yeah, please take their very well-meaning advice with a grain of salt. And again, if you have any questions, I am more than willing to answer questions. I answer questions for free all day long. I love to talk, as you guys have probably figured out. Anyway, I have a lot of these pamphlets here for for sale by owner. So if you guys do want me to go ahead and send some of these to you about the closing process and what to expect, and the brochure for sale by owner guide, I can actually send that out to you as well. If you are local, we can talk about doing a open house. If you're not up for that, but have other questions, I'd be more than happy to help you with that. But anyway, so I'm not sure how this is going for you guys, but next week I'm going to be hopefully finally live. We'll see if YouTube and I continue to have discussions. But next week we are going to be talking about residential investing, and we'll go into what you can expect from being a flipper or buy and hold, and what those terms actually mean. So definitely want to pay attention to that. I'm kind of excited about those. And then again, any questions you guys have, comments, concerns, otherwise, please just let me know. I am more than happy to talk to anyone about real estate. I love real estate, and I definitely love Marion County, Ocala. So, just let me know if there's anything that I can do to help, and I will chat with you then. I think we're about a minute under an hour, so kind of excited about that. But any other questions or comments or concerns, just let me know. Otherwise, I will go ahead and put those links as promised. And again, please subscribe. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.